what happens that, for example, instead of just a punch, what I can do is that if I press any direction, then I can attack in that direction. I can kick, I can punch to all of the directions. Or I can clinch an enemy, and then I can throw the enemy to someone else. So both of them falling over. Or I can clinch someone, and while I'm holding him, I can use my legs to attack the enemies around me. So basically, Jack is capable of handling multiple enemies at the same time. The idea is that both in hand-to-hand fight and gunfight, we wanted to introduce something new, something which is unique to this game. But the most important thing, I cannot repeat this enough, is the fact that you can move from one system to the other. I'm going to show it to you without enemies first, and I'm going to go to an area where we have enemies. So I'm now in a hand-to-hand fight, and all I do is press the trigger and immediately the gun is out. There is no camera cut, there is no change in the controls, it's exactly the same. And then I am in fight, I'm taking out enemies, and I just want to go back to hand-to-hand fight. All I have to do is to press one of the buttons which is relevant for punching. As you can see, he uses the gun as the first hit, and then afterwards I'm immediately in combat. So you can move from one to the other in a split second. That kind of freedom means that you can design your own combat, and you can get in scenarios where you can start fighting an enemy with gun, and if they get too close to you, you can finish them off with a hand-to-hand combo, or the other way around. You can use a hand-to-hand combo attack to push someone away, and then take your gun out and finish them off with the gun. I'm going to go to the next area where you have multiple enemies, and I can try to show you one of the takedowns as well, what you mentioned. Those were important elements of the original franchise, so we wanted to keep it. Okay, so about shooting, as I said with the hand-to-hand fighting as well, that you keep, you learn from the experience of many other games, and you know what players expect, but then you add something new. Our new was the 360 combat. In gunfight, what we've done is that you can take cover how you would expect. You can do blind fire the way you would expect. You can even come out and do sniping as you would expect. But something which is new is the fact that the many cover objects are actually degrading. So what happens is that I cannot stay here forever, because after some time this cover is going to go away. This simple change means that immediately the tactical setup of a combat is going to be very different. I cannot stay here and snipe them, I have to move. The tactical layout is changing, because in 1 second you have a cover there, and then the next one it's already destroyed, so the layout of the map is actually changing. This means that we can do a lot of very exciting stuff, and actually it pushes people ahead. It makes action even more ferocious, even more fast, and more exciting. Let me show you something here which you can do. Is that there is a path to right and there is a path to left, right? So what I do is that I'm trying to find an enemy there, I look at that, and there is an enemy on the side. I'm going to pick someone who I want to take down. Let me look at who is it going to be. I'm going to try to do that guy. But as you can see, Shadow is already on the way. He's attacking the enemies from the left. What I do is that I go to the right. This way, basically, with the two of us can flank the enemy. But as you can see, they are dealing with him, which means that I have some time to very conveniently take out a couple of enemies. So you can see he's finishing him off, and he went down. So I have to come in and try to help him out. So I get into hand-to-hand fight to beat him. So what I'm going to try to do is try to take a hostage. I just did that. He's fighting back, so I'm going to take him. So our hostage mode is very different. Again, it's about being fast moving. As you can see that I can move around really fast. It's not one of those modes where it's really you get stuck and you can't really move around fast enough. We wanted to make it everything in this game really fast, really dynamic. So I can take his weapons and use it against enemies, or I can even roll him up as a full shield, or I can kick him into other enemies if I wish. So I'm going to revive Shadow now. So as for the takedowns, I'm going to try to do one.
Can you always revive Shadow, or can the enemies kill him for good?
I'm going to come back to a second, just one. This is just one of the execution moves. We have many more. Almost every single gun has one. We have many which is hand-to-hand finishing moves. And The idea is that they really just punctuate combat. When you deal a lot of damage in a very short amount of time, then this opens up, pressing A, you can execute the enemies. Basically what we've done is we looked at the original game and we said, those takedowns were awesome, I want to keep those. And we just found a new way to introduce them to the game. Coming back to your question, with Shadow, we wanted to provide tactical depth, but not frustration. If he dies, that's annoying. So what we decided to do is that if you send him in a combat, if it's one-on-one, he's going to win. He's a dog at the end of the day, a huge dog, he can tear you apart. But if I send him in a situation where many enemies are looking at him with guns, they're going to cut him down. So he's going to lose a lot of health, he goes down. You can go there and revive him, or you can decide to continue the fight alone, and at the end of the fight revive him. Basically it becomes a tactical choice of how I use Shadow, how much risk I take with Shadow. I personally like to do this, that I send him in, do his own thing, while other people like to close Shadow, keep Shadow close to themselves and only use him when and if it's necessary. So again, it's about player choice, it's about player deciding how to use Shadow. One of my favorite tactics is to send in Shadow to a room, all the enemies are turning after me. So when I step in the room, I have a chance to do some headshots because they're not paying attention to me. Obviously, if I come in too early, they're going to shoot at me. If I come in too late, they're going to kill Shadow before I can do so. So there's a timing and a good cooperation with Shadow. If I'm going to try to find, there's one more enemy. He flashes up red, Shadow jumps at him. As you can see, he's fighting back. And what happens is that he pushes him back. Basically, he was stronger. The next time around, he's not that lucky. As you can see, he dies in a really horrible way. The idea is that Shadow cannot take everyone down instantly. There are enemies who you have to struggle with. But what it does is that it introduces a whole new level of gameplay. If I see a strong enemy, I can decide to put a couple of bullets in them to soften them up and then send Shadow, just finish them up. I know I don't have to worry about it anymore. Or I can send Shadow in to pin him down, and while he's struggling, that gives me a chance to aim up our headshots and finish him up while he is fighting with the dog. So every step of the way, when we thought about hand-to-hand, gun, Shadow, we wanted to make sure that there's always some tactical depth, there's always a choice, the meaningful choice of how I approach combat.
Are you in the process?
This is a tricky question because it depends how far you want to go. What I said earlier is that, can I put it in a box and ship it? Yeah, it's possible. Do I want to? No. We are in the process to discuss it with Namco to decide what is the right time to release this title. Right now we're in a process of going through the whole game again and making a lot of improvements and polishing all the features. We expect the game to come out sometimes in the first half year of 2010, probably in the earlier months, but it's still not set yet. And when we are going to release, we hope to release it in PS3 and Xbox 360 Word file at the same time. But then again, it has to be decided when we get closer to the date.
Worldwide, but probably not in Germany.
Here at Germany is obviously a question which comes up often. I am very disappointed by this because obviously Germany is the biggest market now in Europe, and I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of players who would enjoy this game. But as you know as well, that the German regulations are quite strict, and it's very unlikely that we're going to be able to release this game. At some point in development, we actually considered to create Dead to Rights, the family-friendly version. But and honestly, that would have led us in getting some extra money with some extra sales. But it felt that it wouldn't be a real Dead to Rights game. It would be us cheating our German player base, because we would try to sell you something which is not actually the proper Dead to Rights experience. So we decided to stay away from that. So right now it seems to me, and Kevin can confirm here on this one, that it's very unlikely that we're going to be released in Germany.